Hi everyone, and welcome to our class on online garage sales. Today we're going to talk about buying and selling online. This will of course involve some discussion of eBay since it's the forefather of the business model, but we're also going to look at other websites and apps worth considering. A few technical notes before we get started. We're going to be looking at real companies to see examples of how this process works. Now, the Bloomingdale Public Library doesn't endorse any of these companies, and we do encourage caution before making any online transactions. I also wish to stress that the details and costs are subject to change, and this guidance is provided with the intention of introducing the general process of buying and selling online rather than the specifics of cost and details of procedure. Before we begin with the actual class, as always, I want to show you where to find the materials used for today's class. This will be even more important than usual because there will be several links in the handout, and you might find it easier to simply click on the links through a browser or through a downloaded file rather than to type them in. So you might find this useful. Please go to the website, mybpl.org, the Bloomingdale Library's website. Go to Services, Computers, Computer Classes, and under Classes and Materials you see Online Garage Sales. And when we either open that or download it, you will then have the PDF file that is the outline for today's class. This won't have every word that I say or every detail that we go over, but it's a good structure to go back and look at. And as I mentioned before, later on in the handout you will see a number of links that you might find it easier to follow from the digital version. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's take a look at working with eBay. First off, we need to talk about how to create an account. I'm sitting here at a browser that is not signed into an existing account, and I'm going to show you if you're starting from scratch. You would go to ebay.com, and in the upper left-hand corner you see Sign In or Register. Sign In is, of course, if you have your own account already. Register is if you want to create one, so let's take a brief look at that. Registering for an account with eBay is very often similar to registering with an account anywhere else you might have shopped or joined and created a membership before. You would enter in first and last name, email address, and create your own password, and then it would send a verification email to the account that you put in for email there. I'm not going to demonstrate that right now. I don't want to create another junk account with eBay. I already have one that I am signed into, and we'll show you in just a moment. But before we go on to that, the one thing that I want to note is you have the option of creating a business account. Now, why would you want to create a business account rather than just a standard one? You might want to do this if you're going to be doing a lot of selling items that you've bought to resell, so you're going to have a lot of traffic moving through your account. You want to sell items you've produced yourself and you want to have some kind of a branding to go along with your business. If you're going to be selling a large amount of items on a regular basis, sometimes the savings of having a business account can outweigh the initial costs involved with it. And if you're going to sell new items that you have bought but don't personally use, similar to the selling items that you've bought to resell, that again, you can get savings with the business account that will work for that. So, in short, the business accounts are best if you're going to be doing a lot of traffic on eBay. This is not clearing out things that you have at home and you want to get rid of and get a little cash for. This is not occasionally shopping for hobby or niche items. This is something that you have a lot of sales that you're going to be making because there are costs associated with having a business account. We'll take a look at some of those charts and where you would find that information later on. The benefit is that your selling fees are reduced, but there are upfront fees that you pay on a monthly basis. So you need to weigh that and think about how often you're going to be using it before making that decision. For most people, myself included, you're going to be better off with just a basic, let me go back a bit, a basic user account that you would create right here. Now, once you have created an account, when you signed in, you will see your name or identifier in the upper left-hand corner there. And if you want to go to information about your account when you first go to eBay, you can go to My eBay in the upper right-hand corner here. Before I click on this, I want to point out a couple other quick links that they have right in front of us. eBay is a company like many others, and like most websites that you would visit online, you see a lot of advertisements when you first get here. So a lot of this stuff we can kind of ignore. There are sales that are going on right now or advertisers that have paid to be a part of it. We don't need to pay much attention to that. The key things that matter to us are right here in the middle, the search engine. So if you want to go right into searching for something to buy, you can do that immediately right here. You don't need to go to any of these other features we're going to look at. And then the fixed links that we have across the top here. Now, these in the upper left, help and contact can always be helpful. There's discussion boards there and information forums and a lot of things you can grab with that. Daily deals and brand outlets, those are versions of advertising similar to what you're seeing right here. But in the upper right, there's a lot of things that are worth noting. The sell link takes you directly to beginning the process to sell an item. We'll talk about that later on today. The watch list is a tool related to looking to buy for an item. We'll be talking about that shortly. My eBay is where we're going next. That's information about your account. We also have the alerts. So if there had been any notices to your account since you were here last, you would see a number associated with this drawing your attention to let you know that something had happened. And then finally the shopping cart that you might be familiar with from Amazon or any other online stores that would be letting you know if you have set something up to buy right now, that would be available to go there and make payment. But for right now, we're going to go to My eBay. You see there are some quick links underneath here I could go directly to, but I'm going to simply left click on My eBay and jump right to there. Now, there is a lot to look through in your account, and we're not going to go over every single link here, but I want to show you some of the key ones. I'm going to start out talking about activity. This is where you would see what's going on in your buying processes or selling processes that you have going right now. So you see a quick summary. Now this is just a test account that I created for classes here at the library, so I don't have any actual sales going on. And because this involves money and we're not going to do just fake purchases for that, I don't have any history to show you either. But you can go through here, you can see recently viewed items. We'll populate this later in class today when we do some searches and view some items. You can see bids and offers. So if you were putting in any bids on any things that are for sale, you would see it listed there. Purchase history, this would be things that you've bought in the past. Items you're watching, we're going to talk about that. That's if there's a kind of item that you're interested in, you can add something to a watch list. Save searches, if you go to the trouble to create a complicated search and you want to be able to pull that up again, we'll talk about the value of that later on. And saved sellers, if there's somebody that you've worked with and you want to be able to visit and check out updates on their stock, or you just had a good experience with them and you want to see other things that they have for sale, you can go there. Then finally we have the sell options, which has a whole other submenu, and this is related to all the items that you might be selling through your eBay account right now. So this is showing you everything that's for sale, things that are scheduled to go for sale at different times, what's active, what's been sold, what was not sold when you put it up for sales there, shipping that's been done, returns, and sales that you've deleted. So lots of options there. So again, in short, activity is what is going on with your account. Now, messages, this is the inbox of your eBay account. I showed you during the registration process that you create an email address associated with your eBay account, so you might be wondering, why do I have an inbox here as well? What this provides you is a middleman or another layer of security between you and all of the people that you're interacting with on the internet. For the most part, you're going to have, if all goes well and you're fortunate, pretty positive experiences with most of the online buying and selling programs that I've seen here today. That's been my experience, and most of my students in the past have reported the same. But we are talking about working with the largely anonymous internet, and so there are possibly negative interactions that can happen. And you don't want to make your personal email address public unnecessarily. So when you send questions to potential sellers or potential buyers that you want to talk to about something, you send it to them within eBay. That way they don't have your information outside of eBay and they have no way to contact you or harass you if there are any problems. So this again is another little layer of security. This is also where you will see official notices from eBay regarding either purchases or sales or just system updates of things that are going on. You can see this again is an account that's not really used very much, and so it just has the welcome message here saying nice to meet you, Sean. And if I click on that, it shows me the whole welcome graphic, and now it went from showing one new message to no new messages. We can also see the things we're used to from any kind of email inbox. We have the sent messages, things that we've deleted, archived, and we can create folders. So if we wanted to create a folder for a certain kind of search that we're interested in and people we'd contacted about that, or a seller that we interacted with a lot, or complaints or problems, we could create folders for any of those things, and we would be able to organize our email better if this was something we frequently used. Finally, looking here at our account, I want to take a quick look at the account sections. This is where we would see all the information about our account. I discussed this in the handout. And I say if you want to customize your own personal account information, you would go here. And you can see a lot of different choices here. Payment options, this is where you would associate either credit cards, checking accounts, or PayPal accounts. We'll talk about all of that in just a little bit with your account here. Site preferences, how it handles different searches, other things that come up. Closing the account if you decide that you no longer want to work with eBay. And personal information, sign-in and security, other layers, things you can put in with that. So let's take a quick look at personal information. This is talking about what kind of account do you have. We have an individual account here. It's asking me to sign in. I'll save us the trouble there, but we can go through that and you can update or make changes to your account, so that initial decision is not necessarily permanent. Your user ID, the password, security questions you have associated with it. If you want to change any of these things or create additional security, you can do so using the edit or create buttons on the right-hand side. You can see the registered email address. It's hidden for privacy there, but you can change that. You can also associate phone numbers if you want to have that as a backup way of accessing your account. Updating automatic payments. Turn on two-step security verification. This is if, again, this is a service that you use a lot and you have payment methods associated with. It might be wise to add security to it, so you can make this so you need to receive a text message or another version of two-step verification to be able to sign in. You can link this account to your social accounts, either Google, which I am connected with on this, or Facebook if you wanted to have that linked. I do not. And you can request eBay, you can request to download eBay data if you want to include this in accounting or just looking over spreadsheets and trying to glean information from your usage here. So a lot of things that you can work with here in your personal account information. One thing that I would recommend, I usually talk about this in the buying, but I'm going to get a little bit ahead of myself here. If you are considering using eBay a lot, think about creating a PayPal account. It is not necessary anymore. In the early days of eBay, it pretty much was necessary. But this can be a useful tool for you. Again, this is an extra layer of security between you and whoever you are paying to provide a little bit of a distraction and another separation between your checking or credit card accounts. It also can be a useful tool not just here with eBay, but it can be used in a lot of online shopping locations. I have shopped at places that sold things like t-shirts and other kinds of small store creations that, for whatever reason, my credit card company didn't trust them enough to verify that online payment, but I was able to use PayPal, and I found it to be a safe and efficient way of transferring money. So something to consider if you're going to be working a lot with the online shopping. This is something that you might want to use. For buyers, there's no cost associated with it. For sellers, they take a little bit, they being PayPal, takes a little bit out of the amount that you take in to pay for itself, so that's where PayPal makes its money. So something you might want to consider creating if you want to do a lot of this sort of process. So that's creating and managing your account. If you find yourself becoming an eBay user and going to this often, you won't come here to change your account information every day. That's not a regular routine. But when you sign in, going to the activity or checking your messages can become regular options that you would do. If you had new messages in your inbox, you would see that listed there, you'd see a number next to it, and you can go there really quickly and check. Or if you're coming here and you're looking to do some shopping, you might go to activity and check out the things that you had put a bid on or items that you were watching, searches that you've done before. Again, all good resources to speed things up for you, and we'll get into that in just a moment when we begin talking about buying. Let's take a look at the buying process. When you are looking to shop for something that you want to purchase, you have a lot of ways to do it. You could shop by category, up here at the top, where you see a wide variety of categories, just a general way to get started and see what's available. You can do a basic search, where you type what you're looking for into the bar across the top here. Or you can do an advanced search if you want to control for more details of it. Let's take a look at the advanced search just so we can see what's available for us. We've all probably done a basic search on Google or some other search engine before, and that's very similar to what you would do here. If I click on Advanced, we see a lot of different choices. Right at the top, enter keywords or item numbers. So this is if you had a kind of item that you were searching for, or you knew a specific number of the item, inventory numbers, that sort of thing. Generally speaking, this is where you would type in what you typed in the basic search before. So I typed exercise equipment. And you can choose search for all the words in any order. It has to be exact words in exact order or exact words in any order. So we'll leave it pretty basic there. Exclude words from your search. So if there's certain things that you didn't want to come up in this, you could remove those as well. Let's say I don't want a treadmill. And you can choose what category this should fall under. So you could look through here. Now, it's always safest to go with all categories, but if you find you're getting a ton of responses and they're not all what you're looking for, you might want to limit that. Before I click search, let's look at some of the other options. You want the search to include the title and the description, the complete listing where it has all the information, completed listings, just done with that, or sold listings. Title and description is normally what we're looking for there. We could put in a price range that we want to work with, so we could have that entered in. Buying formats. Do you want to buy it by way of auction? Do you want to have the buy it now option? We'll see both of those later. Or do you want to see classified ads as well? The typical thing that we would use in eBay would either be auction, where you put in a bid and see if that wins, or the buy it now choice. What condition do you want these to be in? New or used, or not specified? You notice these are checkboxes, which means they're not required, so you can choose to add them or choose not to add them, unlike radio buttons, those circles, where you have to choose one of the options available there. Do you want to show results when the listings are ending within an hour, so you want to see things that are about to be sold, or do you want to give yourself more time? Do you want to know how many bids they are? These are things that you would use mostly if you're looking to find a deal or resell something that didn't catch people's attention, something like that, rather than just trying to find what you're looking for. Shipping options. Only want to see things with free shipping, only want to see things with local pickup. This is particularly useful if you're buying something larger. You want to be able to not pay a fortune in shipping it across the country. You want to just be able to physically go there and get it. And if you're choosing a location, you put in a zip code and how many miles away you want it to be there from. Preferred locations worldwide or US only. You get the idea. And then you can choose specific sellers that you want to look for if you like there. And how you want it sorted. By the way, you can change how you want them sorted after you get the results as well. And how many results per page as well. So I'm going to say search. And we're going to take a look at the results that come up. Okay. So this was a very general search that we had here. Exercise equipment with no treadmills. And we see there were a lot of results. 61,307 results. This is where we have the save search option. We talked about this a little bit when looking through our account. And if you had a search that you wanted to do routinely because it was right on target for what you wanted, but you weren't able to find what you're looking for, you might want to save that search so you can come back to it later. You see right now we're seeing all listings. We could go to auction or buy it now specifically if we wanted to choose either of those. Again, buy it now is similar to shopping on Amazon or anywhere else online where you just purchase the item. Auction is if you want to place bids and hope that you win. And the sort by is choosing things that are ending soonest, that are newest listed, so if it just came out. The price, lowest first, distance nearest first, price highest first. Right now we've got best match. And I'm going to leave it at best match, but you see the different options you have there. You can change it to a gallery view, so it looks like this instead. I'm going to go back to the list view so we can see more details about every item. But as you saw, you can see more items faster with the gallery view. So I look through here, and I see a lot of different choices here. So maybe I want to see more details on something. I say, I don't have any idea what this is. Let's take a look. So I click on that. And I see a lot more options here. Now, right here at the top, we see the kind of purchase, buy it now. So we can add that to the cart or buy it right now. So we'll be purchasing that immediately. Some other things that we want to take a look at with the listing here. You see the title of the item with that. We see some details provided underneath, free 1 to 3 day delivery with hassle-free 30-day returns. That's good to know right away. Product review. We see the seller on the right-hand side here. You can shop specifically with that seller if you want to see more things with that. You notice when I highlight them, it gives you the percentage positive feedback. That's an important detail that we're going to come back to in just a few minutes. If you thought that you might want to see other things the seller has, you can save that seller, and so that would again add that to your account information that we saw earlier. That would become a favorite seller that you can go directly back to. Contact seller would take you to the inbox, again like we saw earlier. A few other items that we want to point out here. They do offer a add-on protection plan. That won't be on a lot of listings, especially ones from individual people that are selling rather than companies, but that is an option that we see there that I can check if I wanted to add something onto my purchase. You see payment options that are listed here. You see, again, because it is a company and not just a person selling, you can use credit cards as well as PayPal. Return options are listed there. These are all things when you're going through the selling process that you're asked to select. Shipping details, free 4-day shipping. Sometimes they'll have a fixed price for shipping. Sometimes they'll tell you if it's going to be overnight or express or give you a date range available. That will all be contained right here within the listing. Then eBay provides similar items for you that you can look over if you wanted to do so. If I wanted to keep an eye on this, but I wasn't sure I wanted to buy it just yet, I could click there on Add to Watch List, and then I can come back to this item or others that match the description. So that's how we work with the listing. You can see further details, specifications, physical size, etc. And you're going to find that companies are going to have a lot more information about their products than individual people selling them do. If you imagine you were selling something yourself, small, one-time item that you happen to have in your home, you're not going to have all of this manufacturer information most of the time. The shipping policy, returns policy, and means of contact. So all very important information anytime you're looking to make a purchase. I'm going to add this to the watch list just so we can come back to it later. I'll also save this seller just to make note of it. But let's go back to our search. So I go back here, and I can continue scrolling down. Eventually I'll get to the bottom of the list, and I can go on to the next page. Just like any other search you've worked with before on Amazon or Google or so on. And you can click on that. And you notice this is it shows a picture of things here, but it's describing actually the floor mat is for sale. It's always important to read the details of that. And I can add that to the watch list too. And so what we're doing with this, if I go to my eBay, I'm going to open this in another window just so we can see it. And go to watching. It's asking me to log in again there. I'll save us the time with that. I'll go back here later. Sign me out. That's unfortunate. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a minute. One other thing that I want to point out, we have the main picture here that allows us to zoom in on details. We also have secondary pictures that they provide. We can go through here to get a feel for details of the product. The number of pictures available is going to vary from one item that's listed to another, but you want to be sure to look these over. Sometimes you'll see things from different angles or get more information that way. When you are in the selling process, you have a base number of images you're allowed to put in for free, but they will you can add more if you pay a little bit more for the listing. Finally, I want to mention the reviews of the sellers. We talked about this just a few minutes ago. 100% positive feedback with this person. I will mention, this is just a personal opinion here, but sometimes 100% positive feedback makes me a little bit more nervous than something like 99 or 98% feedback, because it can be just a couple of reviews. When you see 99%, you know that there have been a lot of reviews to have at least 100 of them to get that percentage. 100%, I might want to click on the person and check out how many things have they sold. And you can see here just 2 positive reviews, 0 neutral, 0 negative. Quick response, thanks, and fast payment. Perfect transaction. So, very positive, but not a whole lot of them just yet. Doesn't mean you shouldn't work with this person, just something to keep in mind. You do not have the option of reviewing anyone or any product until you have purchased it. That's part of how they regulate the eBay community, is that after you make a purchase, you are given the option to review that purchasing experience and fill in the details. And after you sell something, people are allowed to review you in the same way. And so that generates the likelihood that you would come back and people will work hard to maintain an overall positive review, because if you came to this and you saw 2 positive and 4 negative, you'd be a lot less likely to buy their stuff. So when you are doing this, be sure to take that seriously and try to fill in reviews whenever possible. Now, I do want to show you the bidding process. Again, we won't be placing any bids, because if we were to do so, we would be obligated to fulfill them, and I don't want to buy anything. But if I go to auction, so that we can make sure we see some of these, right away you see one that says 8 minutes left, so this is about to expire. When you go to sell an item, they ask you how long you want to have it bid for. By default, it's 1 week. And so when that time is getting close to running out, you see as I'm talking, it went to 7 minutes, very often there's a flurry of bids and the price will shoot up at the end. But this is also an opportunity that you might say, hey, this is about to sell and the price is pretty reasonable here. So I could go in, and if I wanted to place a current bid, it says enter $102.50 or more. Again, I'm not going to place a bid because I don't want to purchase this, but what you would do is you do not enter in exactly the minimum bid that you think is possible. You enter in the most that you would want to pay, because if I were to enter in $102.50, if somebody put in a bid of $105 already, I would immediately be outbid. So you can do that if you want, but it will typically outbid you right away. On the other hand, if I put in $130, it will up the bid by a small amount, and then if somebody outbids me, it will go back and forth until you get a result. If you want to be cautious with it, again, you can enter in the minimum amount there. If you want to have it automatically take care of it for you, especially if you're not watching it at the very end here, then you might want to put in a larger amount. We happen to be sitting here right while this is about to end, so we'd have the opportunity to sit and watch this and keep adding in bids. But if you saw something that was due to expire at 1 a.m. tonight and you weren't going to be watching it, then you might not have that choice. So you enter in the bids and you place it. Again, you're obligated to pay for something when you place a bid, so I don't want to do that right now. And then you find out when the time expires whether or not you won the auction. Once you do, you would then contact the seller and you would work out payment methods and delivery methods. Notice here it says 8 watchers. That indicates that there is some interest in this purchase, and so the chance of being outbid if you enter something in would be moderately high. One other thing that I'll mention, when you are selling an item, you can put in the starting bid and you can put in the minimum amount that it can be purchased for. That minimum amount can be higher than the starting bid. So maybe this person wanted to get the bidding started early at 100, but said they're not going to sell it for less than 125. So you could have a winning bid, but be told that it's not enough to make the purchase. This is rare. Not a lot of people do this, but that is a possibility. So that is how the bidding process works. Now let's take a moment to talk about selling an item. Let's talk about selling on eBay. Here we are limited as to how much we can demonstrate, because of course we don't want to initiate a sale and have to pay for it as we go through this. And the majority of these services that we're going to look at are what actually cost money to use in eBay. You could say this is where eBay makes its money, is through the selling process and the charges that are associated with it. But we'll look through this as much as you can. To begin the process of selling something, you need to, of course, first be signed in, and then you go to the sell option in the upper right here. Now, when you do this, you're going to have a bunch of advertisements appear in front of you and a bunch of different options, and we're going to talk about those in just a minute. But first, I want to go over the requirements to sell on eBay. First of all, you need to provide eBay with a valid credit card, debit card, or bank account information as a means of payment. Then you're going to let eBay know how you would like to pay your seller fees, so you're going to select the default one that they're going to charge you for any fees associated with listing and selling an item. Then you're going to select the payment methods that you'll accept in payment from the buyers that you're going to work with. Finally, you need to make sure that your feedback profile is public. That means that people can see your feedback profile. That's a requirement for sellers. As you saw when we looked through the buying options, you need to be able to see people's reviews of anybody that is selling an item there. One last note, I recommend that you get your PayPal account verified if you're looking to sell. That's something that you would do through PayPal. And if your account is suspended, you will be unable to sell. Regarding getting the PayPal account verified, that sends information to your bank account. You then verify that information and confirm it with PayPal, and that's how that process works. Let's scroll down here and see some of the options that we're going to see. You can see promos, promotion. So here's the list of promotional offers. List 200 of your items for free. Make money today. There's always details with these. All of these things are going to cost some money for a service that is provided. You can see, learn more about selling professionally. There's quite a bit of advertisement for any of these. Eventually you get to where you're ready to start selling down here at the bottom. If I click on that, it takes us to what do you want to sell? And you can enter in keywords or the ISBN that you might see from somewhere else. So if there's a certain category of item that you're looking to sell, you could type that in here. If there's just something in general that you want to list the name of, you can do that as well. One thing that I mentioned with recommendations in the handout for selling, before you begin this process, if you have an item that you're looking to sell, I'd encourage you to search for it as if you were looking to buy it. That'll give you information in several ways. One, it'll show you how many of these are out there and what comparative condition they're in. See if there's any exact matches, see if there's a lot of choices available, that sort of thing. And it'll give you a range of prices that people are asking. So you can see the details that other people are using and try to put your sale in the appropriate range. Once you've done that and you know what you're looking for or looking to do with the selling process, you can come here and I could say type in chess set. And then they will have some suggestions underneath. So I could say, okay, chess set marble. And I could choose whichever one is appropriate, or I could ignore this. These are just suggestions that they provide so that you will come up in more searches, but you are not required to follow them. You can just type in what you want here and click go whenever you're ready. And then say go. And so it's suggesting categories for you then. And so you could take any of these if you like, or you could look at some other categories. You might remember when we did the search earlier, when I was showing you how to look for items that you might want to buy, there was search by categories in the upper left there. This is where your items would fall into that. That's how items appear in the different categories. You tell them where you want them to go. So I could say, that sounds good. So select the product that's closest to yours. We'll copy the details of the listing to save you time. So if there's something that's identical or close to identical, I could just grab that. If not, I could create something on my own. So I could say sell one like this for any of these items that are similar. Can't find one like yours, create a new listing. So I will do that. Select condition, new or used. Up. And it would begin going into the process here. Again, this is not something, the library does not sell things on eBay, and so that's not a process that would be appropriate for me to begin. But as you go through this and as you begin the selling process, it's going to ask you to provide a description of the item, to upload pictures. If you are using a mobile app for eBay, then you would be able to take the pictures directly with your phone. If not, you would need to upload them either with your camera from the phone or by emailing them or attaching them onto your computer. You would set in a price range that you are looking to be paid, shipping details, all of the things that we looked at and discussed before. You could decide if you want to have it be an auction item or something that people can buy immediately, and if it's buy immediately, there'd be a set price for that. Before you list an item, we would want to go into some of the links that I provided for you there. The seller's checklist, tips for successful selling, and rules for sellers. Go through all of those, get a feel for them, and work through it in that way. One last note talking about sales. If you're looking to become an eBay store, this is something that you would want to do if you are looking to either sell in large volumes on eBay or if you have a real-life physical store and you want to have your inventory listed on eBay as well. There are a fair amount of expenses included with that. I have some charts with the prices that you can pay per month and the services that you get included in the handout. But there are some benefits if you are selling a large number of items. You can have a certain number of listings free every month, and so if you're going through a lot of things, that can be a money saver for you. And you can get some extensive branding like a fixed URL and things like that. Lower value final costs, up to 12 photos per listing, which is more than the usual 6. Sales and marketing tools, toll-free customer service, subscriber discounts, lots of positive options available there. So a lot of different things to consider if you are looking to go into the eBay selling process. As we saw when we scrolled through earlier, there are a lot of options depending on your comfort level working with technology. You can either hand off a great deal of the work to eBay for a cost, or you can do more of it independently on your own. Hope that's a good way to get you started. Now let's talk about some alternative ways of selling things online, either through websites or apps. So I want to give a brief description of several alternatives that are out there for working with eBay but still buying and selling online. There are, of course, countless websites on the internet where you can do this sort of thing, and many of them fill different small markets that work with specific kinds of customers or specific kinds of materials, but I want to talk about some ones that you're likely to have heard of or might find useful. The first that I'll mention is, of course, Amazon. Anybody familiar with shopping online is familiar with Amazon. They're an enormous company, and they work with a lot of services, but you might not know that you can sell things online as well using them. Primarily, they work with businesses that want to use them as a central hub for selling and distributing their materials, because you can also, for a cost of course, have your materials that you sell stored at their warehouses and shipped by them. So if you've ever bought anything through Amazon where they asked you to review the seller afterwards, but you were still able to use Amazon Prime for shipping, that's what was happening. There was an independent company that was selling it to you, but you were using their shipping services to deliver it. There are, of course, costs associated with these things. The advantage is that you have the marketing taken care of for you, because everybody knows to shop at Amazon, and you're fairly likely to come up in searches if you're part of their shipping group. So that is something to consider if you are selling in volume and you're looking for a way to reach your customers. Another one that I mentioned in the handout is Etsy. If you're familiar with Etsy, you know that they specialize in crafts and homemade goods, whether it's accessories and clothing or just small home crafts that are mass-produced and can be sold to a lot of people. They have a lot of options there. It's relatively cheap to start selling. They have low prices for that. So similar ideas to eBay for buying and selling, but a little bit different in that it goes away from the bidding process, and so it's more just a selling item. Rakuten is known as the international eBay. It used to be Buy.com, which was an early competitor for Amazon. In fact, it existed before Amazon in the late 90s, but they've been bought out and have morphed a little bit and has become just a worldwide selling location and resource. Something to take a look at and consider there. Newegg is an alternative for electronics, so a lot of devices and resources can be bought there. I've worked with Newegg before on buying electronics for here at the library that were not available through other sellers, so sometimes you can get smaller, hard-to-find items. If you're looking for parts for older equipment, that sort of thing, they're a good place to check out. Mercari is a low-cost alternative, and it's a fairly easy-to-use interface. It's also a popular option for working with apps. You can see I have it listed right here, so something that's available there. And Facebook also has the social marketplace. Facebook, of course, is a hugely popular and well-known company, and a lot of people have accounts with it. The social marketplace, the selling online through Facebook, is not used nearly as much as just the basic services of Facebook, but it is still fairly popular. I've had a lot of students in the past who have had first-hand experience with it and spoke pretty highly of it. So something to consider and to look into if you're looking for alternatives and you want to work with something where you already have an account. Now, I mentioned apps that are available here. You can see I went to the Google Play Store and I searched for the Mercari shopping app, and you can see a lot of different choices came up because there are a lot of options for similar online shopping tools that you can have on your phone. I could also search for something like, say, garage sale. And you can see a lot of options related to that come up. I have a number of apps listed in the handout. There are, of course, as you can see just on the screen in front of you and from the two searches that I did, many, many other choices available. A lot of them come with pluses and minuses, and I list those in the handout. I won't go over all of that with you. But there are two different kinds of apps. There are the buying and selling ones similar to eBay that are more tuned to work with your mobile device. Things like the Listia, OfferUp, LetGo. That's a drop in the bucket. There are a lot of them out there. The Mercari is another example of it. eBay itself has an app. A lot of choices available there. And then for those of you that enjoy garage sales and like to travel around and find them and participate in them, You have the yard sale treasure map or garage sales map, yard hopping, yard sales, all of these that I pulled up here. And you can see I could do see more and get a whole bunch of them. These find yard sales in your area, and they allow you to list your yard sales so that other people can find them as well, and it becomes a map that you can come up with here. So I would have to install this app on a phone and go through that process. Most of these apps are free. Some of them have in-app purchases available for expanded services, but they're free to download and try out. And so if that's the sort of thing that you like to do, summer's coming to an end right now as I record this, but there still might be some of these available, and if you have it around next summer, I'm sure you'll find a lot of them. And so it finds things in your area, you download it, and as you can see some examples there, you can just drive to the different locations if that's something that you enjoy. So there are a lot of resources out there to help you sell things either entirely online or help you come in contact with people that are looking to buy and sell items. I hope this was a little bit helpful for you and got you started in the process. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to see more or less of, please let us know. We're looking to add as many classes as we can to this. We're trying to think of what works well in this format of teaching classes online, and we're doing the best we can with that, but any suggestions or critiques are very welcome. We hope to see you at future classes in the building soon, but until then, keep tuning in and we'll keep adding as many videos as we can. Have a great day. Bye.